the important thing is we are now going to finally resolve a mystery which has been thrilling wrestling fans for the last 30 years. We have the mask of the Black Scorpion against the title held by Sting. This is the culmination of a program that nobody really wanted to do, but somehow got through.
Right.
So Jim Herd, who is the guy running WCW, he begins looking at the WWF and says, why aren't we doing stuff like them?
Yeah.
We need to be more cartoony. We need to have more entertainment. We need big characters. So some of his things he comes up with are the lumberjack character of Big Josh and a tag team.
Big Josh.
I know. He also came down famously, Big Josh, in one of his entrances on a pay-per-view. He has a bear which visibly starts pissing as he takes it down.
What, a real bear?
A real bear,
Wow.
Yeah. Jim Herd has these bad ideas, and Ole Anderson, who is the old-school booker of the product, he begins, as a joke, throwing out stupid ideas. And one of these stupid ideas is the idea of a mysterious masked wrestler who was from Sting's past and would haunt and torment him.
Yeah.
Now, Ole Anderson was always like, oh, it was a joke thing, and then Jim Herd went, actually, I really like that one, and then we had to do it. But it sounds to me it's no worse than anything NWA had done in its history.
Yeah.
You know, that there was always that thing of people coming from your past and having a grudge and loads of masked stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you were sort of going, this fucking guy. You know,
What a stupid idea.
I put this out as a joke. It's not that much of a fucking joke.
No.
It sounds absolutely... And the very fact that everyone goes, yeah, we'll do this, means that it wasn't a very good joke if it was. Once he finds out he's got to do this, Ole Anderson, because it's his idea, he goes, well, I'm going to put everything into it and make it work. The big problem is they just did not work out who the reveal would be. And that is the one thing this whole storyline revolved around.
Yeah.
They needed to deliver on the reveal.
Yeah, the pop needed to happen and the reveal needed to be a big name that people knew.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just didn't work. But
Completely.
The problem is, people are notable by their absence, aren't they?
That's true. In August 1990, the Black Scorpion debuts, and he's in little vignettes that they filmed, and he's taunting the NWA champion Sting. He is played at this point by Ole Anderson, who has bought himself a voice scrambler so that he can't be, as if everyone's like, you know, do you know who's really recognisable voice? Obscure, like backstage former wrestler Ole Anderson.
Sting, I'm making a little present for you. Everybody else wants to take something from you, but I want to give. In a while, I may even show you what it is. But first, I want to give you another clue. Los Angeles, 86. On the beach. Think about it.
The character starts making these cryptic comments about being from Sting's past.
Okay.
He says things like, remember Tulsa? Again, they chose that city with absolutely nothing in the tank as to how to deliver on it. And he said he would make his life a living nightmare. He's the Black Scorpion. That derives, of course, from the fact that Sting has a scorpion on his tights, and he used to use the Scorpion Deathlock, which was one of Sting's finishing moves, as his own.
Right.
So the Scorpion then also, they developed the character by having perform magic tricks, which were big shows. They actually hired an illusionist to come in and make a woman disappear. Things like, I mean, the last thing you want in wrestling is women disappearing, but that happened.
Sting, I am here. We will meet again.
The Black Scorpion appeared, Paul, and he disappeared and he reappeared. Where is he?
That ain't right. That ain't right. Whoa, that ain't right. What's going on here? That ain't right. Things like that aren't supposed to happen. You can't be in two places at once.
Fans here as bewildered as we are. The Black Scorpion appeared.
He was boom, disappeared, and what happened?
Where was he in that cage there? He was somewhere in the cage. Where did he go?
He wasn't in the cage afterwards. And he disappeared. And he had a girl. He took a girl out of the crowd, and he just. What happened?
Crowd here still very bewildered, ladies and gentlemen. We'll
This is made doubly problematic by the fact that this angle starts really getting over with the fans and the ratings start really going up as a result. So everyone is beginning to realise that this is actually now quite a big deal. Jim Ross talked about this. He said, all of a sudden it started getting over because we had our new hero Sting. But the fans, all the build-up, it was great. But when you get in that ring, you've got to be able to deliver. So with no idea who it was going to be, they had 4 months. They kept running the angle. They kept making it more difficult for themselves, and they still had no idea where they were going.
Well, bearing in mind that if you are doing a Black Scorpion out angle, so the Black Scorpion has to be, if he's in the same place that one of the wrestlers that ends up being the Black Scorpion, people can point to that and say, well, no, because he was on the same card as the Black Scorpion, and he wasn't the Black Scorpion then.
You see, you're imagining that they've gone, what would the easiest thing to do? It would be to go, well, let's
Decide
see who
at the
we've got
start.
under contract.
Decide
Yes,
at
decide at the start would have been the best idea.
Yeah.
But you're also thinking, Pete, that they're going to go, we should get an existing wrestler.
Yeah.
They didn't really seem to think that. They
Right.
were like, we need to get someone from outside.
Yeah.
So who should it be? Why? Just early on, go, do you know what would be great? It's how Sid Vicious wins the belt.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
It's that easy. And it was all bullshit. It was all bullshit because he didn't want you to know it was him. Done.
Yeah.
Instead, what they do is they go, right, well, the Ultimate Warrior would be a good one, right?
Oh, okay.
At the moment, he's WWF World Champion, doing very well.
Let's look at the coffers.
Yeah. There was no way Warrior was going to... And Warrior's never... Why is he going to come to do this? But also, legally, he couldn't. So,
Yeah,
I mean...
yeah.
And I think C, he would never... I mean, what were they thinking? So...
They could have found out Sting was a Muslim or something. He would have done it and brought contract.
Basically, Ole Anderson was suddenly really excited. He'd heard that Vince McMahon was a bit disappointed with how the Ultimate Warriors Championship run was going. That, the attendances hadn't gone through the roof. The fans were grumbling about bits of it. And the Ultimate Warrior had a bit of a sort of bad rep behind the scenes. And so Ole thought, oh, well, that's good, because then the fans will go, it might be possible that he's jumping. Yeah. Again... you can't sort of build up and go, this is working, because if the best thing happened...
because I'm lying.
Yeah. You might as well say, let's say it's Hulk Hogan, and then when he doesn't come, some way that'll be beneficial for us.
Kids, you enjoying your tea? Who likes Disneyland? Who likes Disneyland? We're not going to Disneyland. We're not
Exactly.
going to Disneyland.
Yes, I need not earthquake insurance. I need not health insurance. I will never need life insurance.
The one thing they do have in this is, other than just going, who can it be, and then making up, ridiculous decisions as to who it's going to be, they go, well, do you know who we could use? There is someone who fits into all of these things,
Costumes.
right?
Fits into all of these costumes.
There's a guy called Angel of Death.
Right.
Dave Sheldon. Now, Angel of Death used to train in the early days with Sting
In Tulsa.
and the Ultimate Warrior. Right?
Okay.
They were really like that. They were like, now they also had a bit of history in the UWF. Now, Dave Shelton, we can sign him up.
Yeah.
He's still out there.
Right.
And so fans are beginning to go, do you know who it might be? It might be the Angel of Death.
Right.
And they go, brilliant. This has been sorted. So the Black Scorpion is Angel of Death. WCW management turned it down halfway through them all going, it's going to be the Angel of Death.
Yeah.
Because they said he wasn't famous
He wasn't
enough.
famous enough.
So they're like, all right, we're back to square one.
I'm kind of with them on that one, to be fair.
Yeah, look, they never said it was going to be a famous person. They just said he knew him from his past. And in fairness, the Angel of Death would have ticked that box, okay? They could have gone, yeah, it didn't work, but it was a good way to introduce him and get him over, wasn't it? No.
It's a good way to introduce Sting's mum and turn her into a wrestler.
I bet there were bits where they were like, Sting, do you have a brother? Just by any chance. And it's like, is this about the Black Scorpion? No. Just we're doing a...
You promised you'd work that out and I wasn't going to be embarrassed.
No, we haven't. When you find out who it is, you're going to be so excited. I see Dave Sheldon's over there.
Is that a drugged up Hardy Boy?
Please take me to the future on in my career where I'm not doing shit like the Black Scorpion. Oh, God.
Watch me, Sting. Keep him back dangerously. Remember the green...
Throwing him in the cage.
Yes, the cage. Watch now, Sting. Watch what's...
Now hold it, you promised him. Let him go ahead.
Watch very closely, Sting. I'll show you powers you never knew I possess.
Whoa!
What happens really worryingly for them is in the build-up to Clash 12, suddenly the ratings start to dip. And they go, God, people aren't really enjoying this anymore. And it's because we don't know where this is going. What happens, though, rather than go, it's because of our stupid Black Scorpion thing that we are clearly losing a grip on, they go, do you know whose fault this is? This is Sting. This is Sting.
Right.
So
He's not selling it well enough.
Jim Ross on his Grilling JR podcast was talking about what it was like backstage at that time. And he said there was panic, creative panic. And instead of letting things smooth out and get guys over, there was panic. panic. A lot of guys trying to search for the cause of the panic, and unfortunately we were misguided and looked at Sting, which is one of the silliest things I've ever heard of. A lot of the corporate people who loved him at first, now they began saying, the company isn't going to be as hot creatively with him as champion. He's the champion now, but look where we are.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? That means you have to give him time to get over. We hadn't prepared any heels for him. We overexposed him on TV. He's overexposed. He's on TV every week. It's stupid. So Sting got blamed for a load of stuff like the ratings that he didn't deserve to be blamed for. So the Black Scorpion unwittingly has cost Sting his career, which the character of the Black Scorpion, that's exactly what he wanted.
Yes.
So in a weird way, it's working.
Yeah, the Black Scorpion may have lost the battle but won the war. That one.
So what seemed to have happened is that Ole Anderson said the only way to resolve this is basically at Starrcade 1990, it turns out to be me. And everyone's been like, what? And he's like, yeah, that'll be the best thing.
I would have gone with another Sting. I'd like above that idea.
What then happens is Ole Anderson breaks his arm somehow. I mean, it's just amazing. He would never return to active wrestling again. But basically what happens is he breaks his arm and he's like, well, we're culminating at Starrcade. We are literally out of ideas. They've gone off the rails with the character. He's now doing mind control in shows. And so a referee, preliminary wrestlers, and even a female fan in the crowd are hypnotised to attack Sting. I mean, it's all just... It's like, again, a train on tracks. It's going, and it's getting faster and faster and faster, and bits are beginning to flake off.
Yeah.
And by the time it pulls into the station, Starrcade 90, it's on fucking fire. It's just a nightmare. So in the end, they are going to do the biggest WCW show of the year. It's Starrcade 90. They have no idea what to do, so they just turn to Ric Flair and they say,
mate,
can you be the Black Scorpion?
Just be the Black Scorpion.
Flair himself has said it was either going to be him or Barry Windham.
Right.
And the problem they'd had is at Halloween Havoc, which was a pay-per-view a couple of months before, Barry Windham had actually dressed up as a fake Sting to be penned by Sid Vicious.
Right.
And then he'd escaped. So they were
So
like,
they blew that.
you've already done a little bit of that.
That obviously was not Sting in the ring. Sting, we've only got 30 seconds here.
Black Scorpion, Sid Vicious, and whoever that was. It's not one thing, it's another, Rossi.
4 come out as we open the match.
Yeah.
They are the Scorpion's messengers, and down comes a spacecraft.
Oh my god, what is that? It's like a spooky sort of light rig
that
kind of crumples.
So is he
and
from...
lands on the runway?
Yeah.
And then it slowly flowers again and rises up.
So is he from Sting's past now, or is he a space alien?
Is he from...
Right? Is he a space alien from another planet?
Well, it looks like he's a plant because there's sort of like a little kind of
Like
greenhouse.
chrysanthemum.
Yeah, he's like kind of like just a really quick growing plant.
I quite
He's a
enjoyed
fungus.
that. I know it looked shit.
I enjoyed it.
It looked awful.
It looked like the most technically impressive thing I saw that night on the show.
I bet they paid a lot for that. I bet they were really rinsed and fleeced on that as well. Awful. Out comes Ric Flair, the Black Scorpion, out of this sort of chrysanthemum egg. The best thing about the spaceship when it comes down is Paul Heyman is they're obviously trying to go, remember there'll be kids watching and we should really go hard on this. And Paul Heyman just goes, I don't like it. He's sort of going, He goes, this isn't right. And he turns to Jim Ross and he just goes, why didn't you tell me about this? And Jim Ross snaps, I didn't know about this, Paul. And you get the impression that Jim Ross is talking from the heart. He's really like, this is shit.
Looks like a spacecraft.
Hey, I wasn't briefed about this. This isn't right.
You want to go home to Mommy and Daddy?
Could I?
Sure could. We'll get you a glass of warm milk when this one's over. Look at that thing hovering overhead.
What in the world is going on here? Why didn't you tell me about this?
I didn't know about this, Paul.
And at the same time, you've got a man sat on top of the cage with a camera filming it. Because it's the only way you're going to see the actual action.
He mentioned California and Tulsa. Stop reminding us of things that you made up that aren't relevant and are making it all wrong, right? Man.
You know what bothers me is that after all these hints, after all these months, this could all have just been a trick. I mean, none of these clues could have been real. It could all have been a lie.
You're right, Paul.
What we have, of course, the guy comes out, he's got a mask on. It is very, very difficult for an audience to connect and get behind or hate someone who has no previous identity for them.
Yes.
Masked wrestlers get over because you've been exposed to them, like any
Yes.
wrestler. If you bring in Ric Flair under a mask, people don't know it's Ric Flair.
And Ric Flair can't do any of his moves.
No, because he
or
doesn't
act
want
like
to
Ric Flair.
give the game away.
The big game
So
away.
all you get is you go, there's a guy here, I don't know if he's good, I don't know what moves he does, I don't know what he looks like, I just don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And then you might as well have a creator wrestler on a SmackDown versus Raw game. They have some really sort of like decent-ish touches here where Sting gets the mask off, the Black Scorpion, and he's wearing another one underneath. The problem is, because they want to show you that at home, what's happened, you can also see all the bleach blonde hair coming out underneath the thing. Now, what's funny about this is watching it back now, 3 minutes in, you very clearly hear a fan go, Flair! And then you get woos.
After months and months of speculation, after the mental anguish that he's gone through, hopefully it will be settled right here. On top, we got a lateral press. I don't Dick the Bruiser.
Did you know Gordon Solie?
What the hell?
Now, back in sort of this period, people didn't woo Ric Flair.
Right.
That was really something that only started in about 93, 94, when he was sort of coming to the end of, well, what seemed like the end of his career. But there are people wooing around the crowd there. So they know who it is. I mean, what a fuck up. What a fuck up that when he comes to the ring, they're like, oh yeah, that's Ric Flair. I mean, it's just, what a disaster.
He's bladed.
He does bleed through the mask, which is absolutely fucking disgusting. Dick the Bruiser is pacing round like something out of a sort of acid trip in his big sailor boy top.
Good Lord.
Like a sort of horrible, inflated and then partially deflated elephant toddler.
Smithy's Popeye costume.
God, he actually looks like the Smithy's logo, but ill, really ill. And they, Sting does a crossbody, which is for the win. Now, a crossbody block when you jump off the turnbuckle and land on people, that's very much almost like a slip on a banana peel pin. It's not a definitive, I have beaten you in the centre of the ring with my submission hold.
Right.
Which they probably should have done. And instead what happens is then it all breaks down a bit and the Scorpion is trying to get out and obviously so he's not unmasked. And I think the feeling of, God, is this going to continue? Is he going to get out? And then the Horsemen come down and start beating it up, and I think that was the signal that if the Horsemen are here, people in 1990 watching will have gone, oh my God, could it be Ric Flair? The funny bit as well is Dick the Bruiser, they sort of go, oh, the Horsemen have attacked, and actually what happens is, as soon as the match is over, Dick the Bruiser just starts punching the Scorpion for no the Scorpion's done nothing to him, and Dick the Bruiser's just like, punch this guy, but I punch now. And as it finally gets to the end, Flair is unmasked. And he runs to the back.
But the unmasking is unceremonious, and he leaves way too quick.
Yeah, hugely.
I didn't really get to see it was Ric Flair.
Considering this match is not leading on to a long programme that's going to be about the Black Scorpion, why Flair felt the need... I mean, it must have been shame, I think, more than anything. But yeah, if it wasn't for the commentator going, that's Ric Flair, that's Ric Flair.
You see the back of his head, he's off.
You would not have realised. And I think if you were in the crowd, seeing through that fence is hard anyway. You just watch 20 minutes of absolute static.
Nonsense.
Yeah. And then someone's running in the distance on a ramp. You'd be like, what have I paid for?
Who is it?
It's got blonde hair!
But it's not long hair. Who is it?
We got 30 seconds. It's Ric Flair.
Ric
The Black
Flair!
Scorpion is Ric Flair.
It's Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Sting won the title. He's retained the title. The Black Scorpion was Nature Boy Ric Flair.
What a remarkable shitstorm. And the whole thing ends just with a little thing, as if you'd watched that and gone, I want in some way a commemoration of this. I give them money and they will reward me with a reminder of what I've sat through. They say, send us $19 and we will give you an exclusive Starrcade 90 t-shirt. I love the fact that they don't feel the need to show you it.
No, it could
so hokey.
It says, I saw the Black Scorpion. It's just like, it has nothing
I
to do.
was ripped off twice thanks to WCW Starrcade 90. Also worth saying, $19. That seems like a fuck of a lot of money for a t-shirt back in 1990.
It really does, unless you take it off once and there's another t-shirt underneath.
Oh, this one's covered in Ric Flair's blood.
What a wind down to Starrcade 90. Sting defeats the Black Scorpion. It turns out to be Nature Boy Ric Flair. And we'll see you at Wrestle War February 24th.